Hello, here I am again. Um, I just wanted to talk about kind of my current situation and everything else that's going on in the UK with regards to the cost of living crisis and the budget that was announced last week and just how I'm feeling overall in general. So, I bought a house a couple of months ago. It was a very long process. It took a lot longer than it should have taken. I should have been able to have purchased it in when the last stamp duty was in place, but things just took so long. It dragged on and on and on. And then I just had to accept that I was going to have to pay the full stamp duty, which was really frustrating, but what can you do? So I purchased the house and I don't know how to explain it. I feel like in the run up to the completion date, I was so excited because it had taken so long to get to the completion. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is actually going to happen now, because for quite some time it felt like it wasn't going to happen because things kept going wrong. And then on the day of completion, I don't know, it kind of felt like a bit of a anticlimax, a little bit. Primarily because my family were a little bit negative about it. They were like, oh my God, there's so much work to do on this house. Oh my God, how are you going to afford this? How are you going to do this? You should do this. You should rent it. You should like kind of just throw in their 2 pence in. And I just wish I had a more like supporting, positive thinking family rather than the instant, let's find all the negative. Let's find all the negatives first. Like just say congratulations. Like, do you know what I mean? My friends were really good. My friends were like, oh my God, how exciting. Congratulations. They kind of knew what I'd gone through. And my work colleagues and my friends, that they were all just so great and so excited. So that was good, but family less so. Um, but it kind of felt like a anticlimax, and it was a really strange feeling because I just thought there would be like an overwhelming excitement. And I was excited because I've been working to do this for so long, and I'm not just talking about from the point of where I made the offer to completion, because it's been running for a lot longer than just that kind of house hunting, not being able to find properties that are in a good state, but like the asking prices are still so high. It was ridiculous. And then finding houses that I liked and I could see myself doing something with and moving into, but people just outbidding me. It was ridiculous, especially when the stamp duty came in, because I think that just completely sent the property market so wild, and people were just making absolutely ridiculous offers, and I just couldn't compete. So I bought the house. It's an old house. It needs some work done to it, which is fine. It's fine because then I can put my own stamp on it. But I'm just feeling a little bit overwhelmed because it costs so much. Like, I can't even. I think as well because of the budget that was announced last week, Friday, where they've reintroduced the stamp duty holiday. I don't even think it's a holiday. I think they've just completely like revamped the stamp duty, and I would have saved so much money. But like literally, I've missed out on it by like 2 months. It's just so frustrating. And now knowing that I need to do the renovations, it's expensive, it's not cheap. And of course, everyone's like, oh, the cost of materials and stuff, it's all gone up because of like the war in Ukraine and kind of all that sort of stuff. And it's just like, it's not even the size of the job that I'm worried about. I don't mind having like a project to work on. I'd rather not have to revamp the house. Do you know what? There should be like some sort of rule where if your house isn't in a good state, if it's not well maintained, then there's only so much that you can ask for it when you're selling it. I just find it absolutely ludicrous that I've brought this house for the price that I have, which is in line with kind of what you would expect this size house to be. But it needs full renovation. It's ridiculous. Like, there should be some sort of, if it ain't maintained, you ain't getting the asking price for it. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I need to work on it. It's not the size of the job that scares me. It is the cost of it, because I just feel like it's so much higher than I was expecting it to be. It's not like so high that it's unachievable. It's just higher that in a way that I kind of need to plan for it quite smartly, like very smartly. I've got not a single penny to waste here. And it's just really overwhelming. And it kind of takes away the excitement that comes with buying a house. I know there's so many people out there that don't live in good accommodation, or would love to be able to buy a house, that would love to get out of renting, or would love to get out of their flat, or would love to, I don't know, just get out of whichever kind of situation that they're in. And I get that. And, you know, I know that I'm in a really privileged position in that I was finally able to purchase this house. But it wasn't through lack of trying. Like, it wasn't something that was easy for me to do. It wasn't, I had to kind of borrow quite a lot of money with the mortgage. I had to borrow money from my parents. I'm a lot older than I would like to be in terms of kind of moving out and getting my own place. It's just like, it's not been easy. This isn't something that I've been able to do kind of just willy-nilly because I fancied it. It's like there's been a lot of cutting back on expenses and things like that to be able to afford this. And not only that, but I think actually with this house that I brought, I just got lucky in that they happened to accept my offer, because I think they probably could have gotten more if they wanted to, because the property market was going absolutely berserk. I think the reason they went with me is because they were quite eager to sell, and me as a first-time buyer, there was no chain, so it just made me like a really easy buyer for them. So I think I just got quite lucky in that they were prepared to take my offer. If they were maybe less eager to get a quick sale, they probably could have gone with someone who was in a chain but prepared to offer more money. So in that sense, I got quite lucky that they took my offer, because like I saw other houses that were actually smaller than the one that I've brought, but people were making bigger offers on that. They were in a nicer condition, to be fair, but I think once you add it all up, I did probably get a decent price for the house. But it does need quite a lot of work done to it. So I've basically had this house for like 2 months now, and I've not moved in. Basically just try to do as much as I could in the house. So there's no need to pay kind of the daily rate for a builder to do things that I could do. But I'm at a position now where I need to hand it over to the builders. So I'm just working on getting a few quotes. The first one that I've received, as I say, is quite pricey. I don't know if that's because this particular builder is pricey, or if this is just kind of the ballpark that I should expect now. So I am going to get another quote, but right now I just feel really quite overwhelmed by it. It's a lot. Like, I feel like I need to stop thinking about it in its entirety and just try and break it down into chunks, more manageable chunks. And that might, I feel like that's my coping mechanism, to like just stop thinking about the entirety of it and just think about it as a piece by piece project rather than an entire project. But it's quite a lot, and I feel like it's quite confusing as well, because I don't know, I just felt like buying a house is such a monumental achievement to make in your life. I just kind of felt like it would be a bit more exciting and a bit more like I don't know, I just thought that it would feel different, but it's just come with a whole new sense of dread. And I don't know, maybe once the works are done and I've actually moved in and it actually feels like a home rather than just a battered old house, maybe then it will feel different. But right now it's just like a bit of an anticlimax, it feels like. And then, of course, you have the dreaded kind of cost of living and energy prices. So it is a bit like, I can, like, financially, I think I can do it. I can do it if I'm smart. My worry is more like, am I putting aside enough money that I'll be okay when it comes to retirement and things like that? So I'm not having to live like paycheck to paycheck the way a lot of people in this country are. I can put some money away at the end of the month, but my worry is that I can't put enough away where my future is secure. And maybe this is kind of the inner warrior in me. I'm worrying about something that's so far in the future that I'm not living my life right now. Like I'm almost letting it cripple my anxiousness to a point of just, I'm going to cut back on absolutely everything and anything and not live my life thinking, I'll set myself up for the future. And even when doing that, I still don't think I'm doing it because I'm still not putting away enough money. Like, it's just, I don't know, maybe these thoughts have just crept up. Maybe I've got nothing to worry about. I don't even know. That's the problem. Like, there's no guidebook to life to tell you this is what you need to do, this is how much you need to do. I suppose it's all relative, isn't it? But it's just, it feels like such a responsibility. It feels like there's so much to think about and worry about and do. And maybe it is all of this talk right now over the cost of living crisis and energy prices, and we clearly have a government who are there to protect the wealthy and not so much the working people of the country. And that's quite a daunting thought to have, because it's like, there's no protection unless you're in this circle of elite people. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest. I don't know how other people are feeling about everything that's happening right now. Because like, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, there's just lots of scaremongering tactics going on. But then I'm like, well, what does that achieve? Like, what does that do? Is it like politics? Is it to get us to vote one way or the other? Which way do they want us to vote? I just saw something online. It was on Twitter, actually. I've been spending a lot of time on Twitter. So basically, when the mini budget was announced on Friday, the pound has crumbled and crumbled and crumbled. And I think it's like on 1.6 or 7 to the dollar. So there's talk about, oh my god, we're gonna hit the dollar mark, or we're gonna go below the dollar mark. And somebody on TikTok just put up a post where they were like, if Jeremy Corbyn was in power and he crippled the pound to where it is now, it would be all over the newspaper, all over absolutely everywhere. The Labour Party this, the Labour Party that. Jeremy Corbyn, they would be stood outside his house. The reaction from the media would be much bigger. But because it's the Tory party, it's almost like it hasn't been as big as far as kind of what you see on the headlines in the newspapers and what you see on BBC News goes. It's just it's a bit more like they're talking about it, but in a less aggressive kind of manner. Whereas if it had been Jeremy Corbyn, like they would be ready to put his head on a spike over this. So, like, I think this person was basically getting at the media are there to support the Tories, and they'll just tell you, or they'll kind of print whatever they want. Obviously, there's some stuff that they can't get away with, like they can't talk about the fact that the budget does favour the wealthy over the not so wealthy, but they don't talk about it in just how serious a state it is versus how they would if it had been Jeremy Corbyn or the Labour Party. There's still kind of a bit of favouritism towards the Tories because ultimately the Tories do help the big wigs. It's like what they've done is really helpful for the big wigs. Because it kind of goes down to like who is funding the Tory party, like like just them helping their friends and stuff. I don't know. There's so much happening and going on right now. It's really like mind consuming, isn't it? Like what's happening. I feel like I'm waffling, and I am. I don't ever record these things with like a fully thought out step-by-step notes. I'm just kind of doing it off the top of my head. I just want to use this platform as a place to just speak and think out loud and try and put things into perspective, rather than being too strategic about it. I feel like quite a long time ago, a fair few podcasts ago, see, that's the other thing. I don't even know if I can call this a podcast. Is it a podcast? I don't know. What's the official definition of a podcast? Or is this just me thinking out loud? I don't know. But when I first started doing this, it was very much for the intent of just verbalizing my thoughts. Because sometimes when you hear things, it puts things into a better perspective as opposed to when you're just thinking it and it's just thoughts going around and round and round in your head. So that was kind of my initial reason for doing this, and then I went down a bit of a celebrity kind of topics route. So I've spoken about kind of Chrissy Teigen, Britney Spears, and kind of various other people. I think I can't even remember. I just do things on the whim, so I don't even I haven't kept a log of what I'm talking about, what I'm not talking about, because it is literally just whatever I see and hear, and I just start talking about it if it tickles my fancy. But yeah, then I kind of leaned into that kind of space, but I don't really want to be like a gossip space. That's not what I'm going to do. I don't feel like that's what's going to tickle my fancy. Like, I don't think I can speak that much about celebrity life and gossip and the entertainment industry, because I just don't know if I can do that one trick pony sort of thing. I kind of feel like I'd want this to be more of a lifestyle podcast. So sometimes it will be personal thoughts like today's. Other times it will be focused on, people like Britney, who I'm invested in. I want what's best for her, and I want her to see justice. Just things that are interesting and going on in the world today, like pop culture. Lifestyle and pop culture. There you go. I think I've just answered my own question. I think that's what I want this to be, but I just don't want it to be like consistently one thing, because that's not how I work. That's not how my mind works. I just want it to be more of an all-rounder of just thoughts and perspectives and opinions, and hopefully build a bit of a community on here. And I would like to see your guys' comments as well, because I'm sure it'll be good to kind of hear your views and almost get advice from you as well. Like, what do you think about my house situation? Do you think I should be so worried? Do you think it's worth worrying about something that's going to happen in however many years' time? Should I be a bit more here and now in the moment? Like, because you never know what tomorrow brings, right? You just never know. Like with this whole thing with the budget, like we were going to pay more in taxes, but Liz Truss and her chancellor and group of people who make all these decisions have reversed some of those tax hikes and put the 20% down to 19% and kind of all that sort of stuff. So it is good news. Like there are saves for everyone. We are all going to see a bit more money landing in our pockets. It's just that the wealthy people are going to see a lot more because the standard percentage drops by 1% for your ordinary people. But then for your extremely wealthy people, they completely abolished the 45% tax and it's going to be 40% tax, which is the higher rate. And it's like, well, 5% is a lot more than 1%. And it's for a group of people who don't need that extra 5% back in their pockets. Maybe they should have kept the 45% where it was and dropped the 20% down to 18 or 17%. Or if they have the budget to be able to drop it by 5%, maybe it should have gone from 20% down to 15%. And if that can't be done, maybe they should have raised the thresholds from the bottom rather than reducing them at the very top. Because the wealthy people, they don't need that money. They don't need that money in their pockets. Working class people need that money in their pockets. And an extra £20 a month or like an extra £130 over the course of a year, that's just not enough. Especially when you think about inflation and how much energy prices have gone up. It's the working people that need that money more than the wealthy people do. So it's a really bizarre way to deal with trying to grow the economy again, because growing the economy by putting money into the pockets of people who don't need the extra money, like how does that work? Especially when you've got people on the other end of the spectrum who can't even afford good housing, can't afford to put food on the table, can't afford these extortionate energy hikes. I don't know. It's just so much, and because it's spoken about everywhere, I feel like I'm almost reacting to this the same way I reacted to COVID. Like initially it was like, okay, what's happening? I need to know, because this is kind of my life and everybody else's life, my friends and family's lives. But it's gotten to a point now where it's like, okay, I just can't hear about this anymore because it's just so all consuming. And I don't like it. Like, it's so negative. I just want a bit of downtime from it. I just want to know that everything's going to be okay. But of course, we don't live in that world, do we? So I don't know, time will tell. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of record and speak. Just kind of say how I'm feeling. It is that sense of overwhelm over the house that's kind of playing on my mind a bit. Like sometimes I'm okay with it. Other times I'm like, oh, right, this is too much. I can't do it. It's too much. And then I'll go back down to yeah, I can do this. It might take a bit longer than I want it to, but I can do it. And then I'm right back to stage one where it's like, oh shit, what have I done? But let me know what you guys think. Like, have you ever been in this situation before? Have you ever bought a house where it just felt a bit anticlimax? Anyone out there done any renovations, and you have any advice that you can give me? I don't know. It's just nice to be able to speak out loud and just kind of put it out there. Let me know what you guys think. If you've made it this far in the podcast, thank you. If you can subscribe, comment, like, all that fun jazz, that would be great. But genuinely, I am really interested in what you guys have to say, kind of in the comment section. Like, just let me know what you think, or tweet me. I'll leave my Twitter handle down below. But yeah, just let me know what you guys think. It's always really interesting to hear other people's perspectives on things, and just helps put perspective on it as well. So yeah, until next time, I will see you soon, guys. Take care. Bye.